Shalom, beloved family. It's your girl Sophia Spiritualite, and we are here for another Bible study lesson. This is going to be Matthew chapter 7. I read something last night, um, and I wanted to point it out. And of course, it comes from this. And then, of course, we got this card yesterday, and I was like, why do we keep getting Matthew 7 and 7? I mean, 7 through 12. What is so important about Matthew? I did Luke. I like Luke. So, anyway, you will see very shortly that we really need to do Matthew. That was a very clear reminder that I needed to move a little bit faster. So here we go with Matthew chapter 7, and this is the King James Version. I'm going to read the whole chapter and then I'll come back and make some commentary, all right? Judge not, ye, judge not that ye be not judged. For For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged, and with what measure ye met, it shall be measured to you again. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in thine own eye? Or how wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mote out of thine eye, and behold, a beam is in thine own eye? Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye. Give not that which is holy unto dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet, and turn again to rend you. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. Or what man is there for you, whom if his son ask bread, will he give him a stone? Or if he ask a fish, will he give him a serpent? If ye then, being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more shall your Father which is in heaven give good things to them that ask for him? Therefore all things whatsoever ye would ye would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them. For this is the law and the prophets. Enter ye in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because strait is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth into life, and few there be that find it. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns, or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down, and cast into the fire. Wherefore by their fruit shall ye know them. Not every one that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils? And in thy name done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man, which built his house upon a rock. And then the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. And every one that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon the sand. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat down upon that house, and it fell. And great was the fall of it. And it came to pass, when Jesus had ended these sayings, the people were astonished at his doctrine. For he taught them as one having authority, and not as the scribes. Woo! All praises to the Most High. So let's go back. First of all, we always say this, Matthew 7 and 6, give not. which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye pearls before swine. And that is something that we all have to remember. But what I wanted to say, point out in this, first of all, this is crazy because this whole chapter starts with Jesus talking. There's no introduction or nothing like that. And that's really typical. Not for Luke, of course. His stuff has endings and beginnings, but this is kind of typical for Matthew. So Matthew 7:7, ask and it shall be given to you, seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be opened unto you. So the thing about this is that this particular scripture, Matthew, which has 7 letters, chapter 7, number 7, and verse 7, ask and it shall be given. So why is it 777 telling you to ask? It the first word, ask, and it shall be given you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be open. And also the first line is 7 letters, the second line is five, and the third line is eight. So you have seven, five, and eight. So you have 777. Well, that when that was pointed out in the reading, I said, wait a second, wait. That can't be by accident. And it's they translated like this. This is not the obvious. Well, I won't say obviously. I don't know whether this was written in English or not. We have no idea any of this stuff anymore, and I'm not going to go into that. But this 777 verse is asking and shall be given to you. So my point that I wanted to make by getting this out of the way is, what are you asking for? We're obviously seeking the Father, and this and that, but what are you asking for? Because if you ask, it shall be given you. So are you asking for the right things? Are you asking out of one side of your mouth and then cursing out of the other side of your mouth, meaning um or are you negating? Because whatever you ask, this is from like an old metaphysical teaching, but whatever you ask is going to be given to you. Your thoughts become things. So if you're asking for help to be given to you, but then at the same time you're not, or how do I say this? If you're asking for something to be given to you, but it this on one side, and then on the other side you're saying you don't deserve it to be given to you, well, you don't. Well, yeah, you did ask, but then you don't, because you also out of your own brain, the other side of your brain, you said, well, I don't deserve it, so I'm just going to suffer and this and that. No, 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 no. I talked about this the other day. It's extremely important when stuff comes up that you just ignore it. You don't have to entertain every thought that comes in. When thought comes in, you can just let it go on right on out the same way it came in. So as you are asking, focus on what you're asking for. So that's why I put out a mantra for today. And I'll try to remember to do one for every day based on whatever it is that comes up. But you want to be repeating positive things into your head. And so, it could be scriptures, it could be this scripture, asking and shall be given, asking and shall be given, asking shall be given, until whatever that thought is, it just goes out of your mind, because the longer you let it stay there, it's going to manifest. But if you just, because the enemy is always trying to attack our minds, right? That's why one of the things Solomon had to wear was the headband with the names of the Most High around it. There's a reason for that, because the enemy can come into your mind and have you asking for things that you don't even want. You weren't even thinking about. All of a sudden, now you're like, man, this is man, or like with the cheeseburger example, man, I don't want a cheeseburger. I'm good. We're getting ready to start fasting, man. I don't need no cheeseburger. We're good. I'm not thinking about no cheeseburger. And all of a sudden, you're like, yeah, I really do need a cheeseburger, don't I? Then you're like, wait a minute, I wasn't thinking about a cheeseburger. All of a sudden, now I need one. Like, come on now. That's because you entertain that thought. So you have to be very disciplined with your thoughts, and you have to be disciplined enough to know that when a particular thought comes up, you don't have to actually engage in it, right? And another thing, or another thing, you see chapter 9, when it look, chapter 8, for everyone that asketh receive it. No matter what it is you're asking for, you will get it. So sometimes you also need to be more specific. Like, I have been trying this too, like being more specific in what I'm asking for, because what you ask for you're going to get. Um and you don't have to be tied, so you have to be able to receive however you get it, right? We talked about that in the reading, I think, or something. I can't remember. I've been trying to do a lot of stuff today. So the point of the matter is you have to be open to receive it however you get it, but it's not a bad thing to play out in your imagination how you could receive this, like something that's plausible to you. That way when you do receive it in whichever way that it comes, you'll accept it, because you'll say, oh well, I thought I was going to get it like this, but the most high gave it to me like this. That's great, I'll take it one way or another, you know what I mean? But if you have it played out in your mind, you'll never get something, no matter what. It's too big, it's too that. Think yourself a path to what you're trying to get. If you want to be wealthy, think yourself a path to how you can become wealthy. And then you have to take the action. I put out a video about harnessing versus harvesting energy. You definitely want to take a look at that. But you make a path in your mind, because asking is the same as thinking. So whatever you think, you will get. Your thoughts become things. You have to think a way to get to where you're trying to go. And even if you can't think the path all the way there, think about whatever the next step that you can take right now is. Not, I gotta wait for this, I gotta wait for that. That's why, like, if you look at my website, it has got a lot of stuff going on. Why? Because I I'm thinking about how I can have a cafe that is also like a healing center, like Botanica, with supplies that people need. Why? I think it's important to sit down and eat. And I also think it's important to have a place where you can talk to people. And also, like, when you meet with a quote unquote doctor or whatever, it should be in a place where you can be nourished. So if I can look, because like this, it's like this for me. I can look at somebody and be like, you really need maybe some cucumber water, like you looking a little flushed or whatever the case may be. I think you need some strawberry water, some cucumber water, some watermelon water, whatever it is. I want to be able to just go into my kitchen, whip it up for you, or you need this particular tea. This is happening, that's happening. Okay, you need this particular tea. Or you're like, no, I haven't been able to eat, so on and so forth. And I'm like, well, what are you allergic to? Are you allergic to this? Are you allergic to that? Okay, let me go and whip something up for you, because a lot of the problems can be solved with food and with drink. And also, I want a place where people can come in, they can see all the different variety of products they could be using to help themselves, because the goal is not for everybody to be relying on me to help them, but for me to introduce to you in a way that you've never been introduced to, how to use hospitality as a healing method. And nobody understands hospitality. Absolutely no one understands healing, and absolutely no one understands the healing of hospitality. That is a thing that people don't know. I know it is what I was born into, is what I was raised with. I know it very well. And so that's why my website is a little bit all over the place, because I want to offer two different sets of things that do not contradict, but they contradict for most people because they've never been healed through hospitality. But I have seen many people healed through hospitality my whole life. So that's why my website is the way that it is, because it's what I could do right now, a website. And all my stuff is like pre-ordered, small, whatever, whatever. But it's what I can do right now to get started. But in the end, what I see is having my house, having my little bakery and botanica up front, and then my house in the back. So if somebody has a prolonged issue, they need a little bit more help, I can bring them in, put them in one of the little areas that I set up, the little healing areas that I set up, and let them work through their problems. And not just people who have been physically hurt, but even emotionally hurt. I grew up working with teen moms and stuff like that. I want to bring people in and show them what a normal functioning situation looks like. A lot of people have never seen that. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I'm not perfect at all, but I understand what normality looks like, and I understand what normal functioning looks like. I also understand what out of balance functioning looks like. I know that there's kids who have never seen normal functioning families. I want to be able to have them come by and they can see, look, this is how we do things over here. I'm not stressing y'all out about nothing y'all doing. Y'all just do your thing, and don't be disrespecting my house and acting all crazy, but you're going to eat real food. How many times have people been to kids been to other people's houses, they've never eaten real food. They've never eaten real food at their house. That's another thing. So my whole thing is, you can't see the end product of what I'm trying to do based on my website, but you do see that I have put forth the effort and made the first step. And the real first step was when I learned about the healing properties of certain foods and how to utilize that in ways that our people were not doing it. So I have a lot of hands-on experience, but that was all the way back when I was first looking for something for my family, and trying to figure out how to help my family be better. And not that they were sick, but I was like, we got to avoid this whole sickness thing. I don't want them to have no parts of this. So this was before Corona. I had already started doing research into this stuff. So anyway, the point of the matter is, um, whatever you ask, you're going to get, and it just depends on what you see as your path to the getting. And you could go down a path and it could be wrong, and then you have to take a step back and say, maybe this is not the right path for me to get to where I'm trying to get to. What should I do? And then you may have to take a pause, but then you're going to start back up right on your journey to get down the path, right? So, another thing in here, the straight, verse 14, because straight is the gate and narrow is the way. What does that even mean? Like, look at the Kabbalah, the tree of life. When you come up through Malkuth, now from Malkuth, there are three different ways you can take, right? But there are three direct paths. They're not, okay, I'm going to swoop around Netzach, maybe hit through Tiferet, scoop around Gabora, come up to Keter, and just ignore all the rest of the stuff. No, you either have to go from Malkuth to Netzach, you have to go Malkuth to Yesod, or you have to go Malkuth to Had. It depends on what choice you make. So the gate is straight because you have to take one of those three paths if you're going up the tree of life. If you're going down the tree of life, it's the same thing. You have to take one of the three paths down. But you're either going up one through the straight gate or you're going down through the straight gate, okay? And narrow is the path. What does that mean? It's still not a wide path. I mean, if you look at the actual picture of the tree of life, it's not no wide thing that you can take. It's still a very narrow path you can take. Otherwise, you fall off the tree altogether. And if you fall off the tree of life, that means you're going to fall into the tree of death, because the tree of death is right underneath the tree of life and it's ready and waiting to catch you. And you can pick that up at any point and you're going through that. Then if you got to work your way from down there back up to Malkuth, to the temporal realm, and then come back up again, man, what, that's a lot of work. You could do it, but that's a lot of work. So this is not saying that you're not going to make any mistakes. That's not what this is about. This is about the way to get there is a straight path. You have to take a straight path. No matter which path you take, it's going to be straight. No matter which path you take, it's going to be narrow. And there's going to be a lot of people who venture off the path before they get to the gate. How are you going to venture off the path before you get to the gate? Then you fall back to Melkuth, or you might fall into the tree of death. I don't know. I hadn't really thought about that until I saw it and looking at my tree of life right here. So I want to point that out. Um, you shall know them by their fruits. That's also something interesting. Um, let's see. This is the last one. Um, Okay, so verse 29, this will be the last thing I say. For he taught them as one having authority, not as the scribes. So guess what? All of these Gentiles out here, they have no authority. They have no authority. They have no authority because they don't even talk like they have any authority. Not None of these people talk like they have any authority. They don't have moral authority, they don't have physical authority, they don't have spiritual authority. So that's just something to keep in mind, that the people were astonished the way that our older, wiser brother talked, and we want to talk like him. Like, that's why I brought him into my prayers. We want to be like him. We want to follow his perfect example. And one of the things is to talk like you have authority. Don't let these people, talk to you like you don't have no authority or no power. Talk like you have authority. And however that means, whatever that means in your life, you definitely want to do that. So I hope this was helpful for you. We'll try and get through these a little bit faster, but to the spirits who are here with us, you're invited to go in peace. To my beloved viewers, you're invited to be at peace. And always remember, the Most High is your peace. Shalom, everyone.